What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight. I am going to break down a lake for you guys this time that is kind of my arch nemesis lake. It's a love-hate lake, I guess I should say that. So the first time I went out and fished this lake, absolutely tore it up, probably caught close to 19, 20 pounds, had a heyday. It was flipping bushes, it was short flips, big fish, tons of fun. Just absolutely loved it. Went down a couple weekends, in a row there. Just had a good time. Always great fishing. And then we got to the tournament when Landon actually got to fish the THSBA tournament this lake, and we absolutely sucked it up. So I will say that out of probably the 7 times I fished this lake, 6 times have been awesome. But that one time that wasn't awesome just happened to be during the regionals last year for Landon. And they ended up missing state because I guess you could say it wasn't a bad day for me because I wasn't actually fishing, but it was my responsibility to help put them on fish, and I failed to do that. So they ended up missing state last year after getting Angler of the Year. And so this lake, I really want to go back. I want another challenge. I want another chance at this lake. So let's go ahead and let's start off. Let's start breaking this thing down. We've got creek channels galore up on the north end. Lots of creek channels there to break down for you, to show for you. Up in that Johnson Creek area, good creek channels back there to mark for you. We got laydowns galore on this lake. Just lots of good stuff out here on Lake of the Pines. If you guys haven't gone out and checked out this lake, it is worth a weekend trip. I know I said we sucked it up and missed it, going over to state, but it was just us that sucked it up. Everybody else did okay. And like I said, 6 out of the 7 fishing trips that I was there, and I was part of 6 of them, actually fishing. I had a great time. I love this lake. You guys need to go check it out. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Lake breakdown for the Lake of the Pines. Just like we always do, before we jump into Lake of the Pines, let's take a look at the Texas Park and Wildlife site and just see what they have out here about this lake. So location is on Big Cypress Creek in the Cypress River Basin. It's about 25 miles northeast of Longview in Marion, Morris, Upshur, and Camp counties. The surface acres, pretty good size, 19,780 at pool, and then 18,700 at pool in the wintertime. So a little bit lower during the wintertime. Maximum depth on this lake is about 49 feet. The elevation definitely can change a lot. I don't see where it says that in here as far as how much it changes, but the elevation definitely changes a lot. You can tell here current lake levels, summer, May through September, 230 is pool, and then 228 is pool. September, and then your fluctuation there it is 4 to 5 feet annually. So really cool lake to fish. Coverage ranges on aquatic vegetation 15 to 20% of the lake surface. The dominant species is hydrilla, buttonbush, and water primrose, along with American lotus. So when we look down here at predominant fish species, I know this is a good catfish lake as well. So if you're a catfisherman, it'd be good, but also largemouth and spotted bass, white bass, crappie, sunfish, and chain pickerel, which you don't have too many of those that you'll see out there. Bag limits and size limits, I think they're standard here on this lake. You just want to go check them out just to make sure. And then if we pull down here, it talks a little bit about your angling opportunities. Largemouth bass, you can see here, is in the excellent column. It has catfish, blue and flathead is good, but then channel catfish has excellent. And crappie, I know crappie fishing here is very good as well. And I think I pretty much tell that by looking at all the different brush piles that Texas Park and Wildlife has put out there for us. So that kind of gives us the breakdown of the lake. Let's go ahead and move over and let's jump into Google Earth and see what we can find. All right. If you've never been through one of my lake breakdown videos before, let me just kind of go over what we do here. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in here to Lake of the Pines so you can see this a little bit better. What I do is on the Google Earth side for the KMLs, I break it down basically just by what I'm seeing on the lake. So a lot of times you're going to see these be different, but in this case, we've got offshore hotspots. So you can see here, if I move the date back up to 2021, we've got lots of different offshore hotspots here for you guys to check out. These are going to be ledges, humps, all those different types of things, creek channel swings, stuff like that are primo spots for you guys to be able to find fish. We've also got the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors out there. There's 27 different fish attractors out there for you guys to check out. So we'll go over those today. We'll talk about those. Also channels and ditches. So all these different channels that are out here within this lake, I've got them all marked for you guys with tracks. Those are all these little green squiggly lines. We'll go over those here in a minute as well as we're breaking down the lake. Also laydowns, rocks, ramps, cover and debris, just different kinds of stuff to check out. And then finally, last but not least, just kind of ditches and ponds, things that we could find out there as well. Some more road beds and things like that as well too to check out. So with all of that, let's go ahead and move in and let's talk about this lake. So I'm going to click on everything except for the offshore stuff. We're going to zoom in right here, and we're going to start on the southeastern side of the lake down here by the dam, and we'll work our way up and then back around. So we'll see what we can cover today. We'll give ourselves about 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll wrap up this video and we'll come back and we'll finish out the lake. So starting down here, obviously around the ramp, the bridge, you've got a lot of riprap. You've also got some rock that's right around in here in this area. And what I'm going to do actually before I get too much further, I got a little ahead of myself. I'm going to move this over, and I'm actually going to move our date back to 2011 or 2012, however far back it'll let me go. There we go. 2011 is the best one. That's when the lake was down the best. So you can see here, now everything looks a whole lot different than it did back in 2021. So here's 2021, and here is 2011. So first thing that I kind of notice here is it's got this little concrete thing. I wonder if that's still there, because it almost looks like it disappeared when I went to 2021. But anyways, there's definitely rock there, so you can go fish around the rock. Also, as you'll see as I'm going through this breakdown, you'll see that the land here is going to get, basically where it's just sandy and dirt, but then you'll get into these hard spots. And so I've marked these hard spots for you. This is one of them. I've got them marked as rock for you right there. You've got a ramp back here as well. And then here you've got a lot of riprap going along around this park or whatever this is that we're here in the area. As we move further back here, another ramp that's over here. You could check out some pretty good rock around that ramp. As you move up here by this island, most of the island doesn't have a lot. It's got a pretty good little saddle going on right in there, but a pretty good pinch point right in that specific area. But you also got some pretty good rocks that are over here too. So definitely go out there and take a look at this right here in this area. These little rocks that are right there in that spot. All right, so I'm going to keep moving down. We've also got some more rock that's right here off of this little side. You got another ramp that's over here. This one doesn't look like it's ever used. So go check that out. I think that's a ramp. Looks like a ramp. And if you guys have ever heard me talk about it before, those boat ramps can be really good patterns. So just going out and fishing all the boat ramps, the active ones and the non-active ones, you can really get on some good patterns there. We got on some really good boat ramp patterns out on Lake Louisville one time. So definitely not something to overlook. Also, I skipped over this, but there's a pretty good little ditch that's back in here. You can see it right here. You can go check that out. Those ditches can be magical spots sometimes, especially in the fall. And then moving back here by this big cypress marina, I can tell you for sure that there are a lot of spotted bass right around in this area. Saw them on my graph, caught a lot of them. It was right here on the outside edges of these little docks or marinas, whatever you want to call it. So you've also got a ramp that's right here. And then moving back, there's not a ton of stuff back here. There's a little bit of rock right here off this point. You can see kind of went past it. And then when you get way back in here, there's a pretty decent ditch back in here. And then a decent little creek channel that comes back up in here as well. But the thing I liked about this creek channel was right there in the middle of it. It's got like this hard spot. And you can see there's a boat there or something. But I put a mark there and said, check it, because you definitely want to check that spot, especially with nothing else around it being anywhere hard or in debris. And then that just being right there by the creek channel. I could see that being a good spot. As we move further down, just a couple more things here, just some rock off that point. Got a lay down that's over in here as well. You got this old ramp. It looks like it is being used, but probably not used too much. So that'd probably be a pretty good ramp to be fishing. Here you got, appears to be an really old boat ramp or maybe even an old road bed. So check out that right there. I put ramp, again, could be a road bed. I just can't tell. Looks like a ramp based on what I can see. And as you move over here, I know when we were out here fishing, I caught quite a few fish right here off this point. So I don't know if there's anything on the point or if they were just relating to the point, but definitely caught some fish right in here off of that point. And then over here, we've got some debris that's back here in this little pocket. Decent little ditch, not much of one, but a little bit of a ditch right there in the middle of that cove you could go check out. All right, so we're going to pull out of here and we're going to work our way up and see what we can find moving our way up the northeast side. So up here, just some laydowns. So I marked some pretty good laydowns for you here. More here. There's laydowns all over this lake, so I just really marked the primary ones for you. Now, if you notice, I was talking about it earlier, you got the clay, right? The sand and the clay and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, you get into these hard areas. This is another one of them. Nice little point right here with some really good rock off the edge of it. Not a lot of it in the area, right? It's a really good spot to take a look at. Texas Park and Wildlife Fish Attractor right there, smack dab in the middle of the cove there. So you go check that out. Don't skip over those. Always go check those out. I've ran across those so many times where they've just been just money and had a ton of fish around them. So don't overlook them. Doesn't matter what season it is. Just go check them out. It's 5 minutes of your time to go check it out. You never know, you might end up stumbling across something pretty good. All right, so also coming back in here, I marked these as ditches. They probably could be little creeks too. Just, it's hard for me to tell, but anyways, I marked them for you, but you do have some contour changes on both of these. So I marked both of them for you. Get back in there and have a little fun working around those little ditches. You may have a little boat ramp here. It was hard to tell. This could be an old roadbed as well. Maybe that's the same road that we saw earlier coming across down in here. It could possibly be, but anyways, check that out. And then moving off the edge of this point, it's pretty long here, you can see, but it's got some pretty good rock piles just kind of randomly scattered. So I marked them for you. You've got a pretty good rock pile right here off the edge of the point. You got another one right here that looks good. Some more rock in this area. And then if you get off this little point, this looks even better. Really good little chunks of rock and different contour changes and the little ledges that rock has created. So I really like the side of this point. If I could only fish one of those spots, it would probably be here. And if I only fish two of the spots, it'd be there and there off the corner of each one of those points. All right, so we're going to keep moving up. Didn't see too much on that bank line. Got in here, saw some laydowns. You can see here, pretty good laydown. I love it when it's the whole tree, and that was the entire tree, so I had to mark that one for you guys. And then moving up here, again, we get into that spot, right, where it's sandy and all that. And then all of a sudden, if you zoom in far enough, you'll start to see where there's finally some rock. So there's some rock right in this area, right off the edge of that little bitty point right there. Now moving back in here, there's some hidden tires. And I wish I would have known these were back here when I was fishing, because if I would have definitely fished them. But if we move in here, you can see them. There's a pretty good group of tires right here in this area. Again, guys, I marked that for you guys so you can see it. Just go out to our site, simplisticfishing.com, and you can get all these points put onto your card. It includes the offshore stuff plus everything we're doing over here on Google Earth. And I'm telling you, not just because I own the business and sell the cards, but it really will change the way you fish. It just changes the way that you look at the lake. It allows you to break down the lake so much faster. Also down in here, got a pretty good little ditch going on in here. Got some couple of different laydowns. I marked them for you. Of course, there's laydowns everywhere, like I said, but these are the primo ones. These are kind of like little piles. I've got a good laydown here with the full brush, full tree right behind it. Pretty good laydown in here as well. Back here, you got a laydown at the point. Another good full tree that's back here. You can see it if I zoom in. So I love those kind of laydowns. And that's the kind of stuff that I was really doing well on when I was down here fishing this lake. Any kind of those laydowns, anything I could flip up into, I was doing really well. Also, we got some pretty good rock here. I believe this is Hurricane Creek. Yeah, Hurricane Creek Recreation Area. So right here, you got some pretty good rock right there around the ramp. And then if you move further back in Hurricane Creek, just some laydowns, right? And then we'll finally see the channel once we get up there. But some laydowns right there. Some more laydowns in here. Again, another little group of them here. This one looks pretty good size. Then you get back here into the shallow stuff, and you've got a pretty good little creek channel coming down here from that Hurricane Creek. So you could get up there and fish around the creek channel and probably do some pretty good damage. You probably got some hydrilla and stuff back there as well. So really good spot to go take a look at. So let's come out of Hurricane Creek, and we're going to move our way down here to the left side. Right here, we got a pretty good little pile of brush that we can see. Another pile right here, brush or laydowns, however you want to call it. Got some more laydowns than it is brush. And then as we move over here, if I zoom out, you're going to see that we get into a lot of different Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors. We got 4 different fish attractors here. We got laydowns that are up here on the bank line, full trees. Right here, you can see the tree just completely fell. You got another one right there beside it. You've also got a ditch that's back here. So if you come back in here, you can see this little ditch. That one looked pretty cool, especially since there's nothing back here, right? There's nothing in here at all for them to relate to, but there is that little ditch. So that right there looks like it could be a really good spot, especially if they're pushing bait up into the back of these pockets. We get back up in here, got some more laydowns for you guys to check out. This laydown here looks like it might be on a hard spot as well. So check that one out. This laydown's not on a hard spot, but pretty good laydown. Got some more laydowns out here off the point. Let me back up and kind of show you guys where I'm at. I'm getting ready to go into Johnson Creek. So I'm coming off the point for Johnson Creek here. And you get off this point. I know this is a good point because we caught fish off this point as well. We got a really good brush pile here, some really good laydowns. And as you move over to the side of the point, you get into some little rock piles. So right here, you can see here, got pretty good rock right in there. Even got some pretty good rock right there off the tip. Also right in there. So basically from this spot to about right here, you've got some pretty good rock. And you kind of see that as you go along this bank line. Another little rock pile here. Almost looks like tires right there. Maybe that's just rock, but pretty good little rock pile right there. You got a good little lay down here. You can see the scattered rock everywhere. Got some more rock right in here, a little rock pile right in there. And then moving back up, it kind of continues. So it pretty much starts from here, from where that first rock spot is, until about right here. So you could fish from there to there, the rock. Then you can scoot down, fish maybe just this pile of rocks, and then fish that stretch of rocks as well. So I can see all those being good. And then as you move up, again, you got another Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor coming right off the edge of this little point that comes out. That could have some really good potential. Good little ditch that's back here as well. You can see it. I marked it for you. It has a real big laydown right beside it as well. And then if we get back up in here, this is kind of hidden, right? Most people are just going to fly out of here, but there's a ditch that's way back in here. So if I scoot up in here and show you guys, there's a ramp. I put rock. Probably should have said ramp. But you've also got a ditch that comes right through here. So I could see this having potential. If the lake gets up high enough, that ditch definitely coming into play. Now, as you come over here, you definitely have a lot of different docks and things you could fish there, those little slips. You also have some pretty good rock coming off this point. You could check that out. There's some rock back here as well. And then some laydowns, pretty good laydowns back in here. Pretty good little rock pile right there, and a pretty decent little laydown right there as well. Then moving up here, we've got some more tires. They're hidden back here, but I promise you they're there. You can kind of see them. If you're watching this on your phone, you might not be able to, but there's tires right there. And there's also a laydown here. So whoever's dock this is, they like to fish, and they've got some pretty good little piles set up for you guys to go out and take a look at. Also, as we move further up here, we've got another brush pile. We did catch fish off this brush pile, I know for sure. Last time we were there, we also caught some fish around these little entryways to the roadway there underneath the bridge. So definitely check out this brush pile. Also, this Bullfrog Marina, there were definitely a lot of spotted bass that were out here. In fact, if we move this up to 2021, the spotted bass that I was seeing were all inside of these little pockets, these little dock things, slips, whatever they're called. I have a hard time talking today, but inside these dock slips, there were a bunch of spotted bass in there. So check that out if you want to go catch some spotted bass. And then really, we saw a lot of people just catching fish with Texas rig worms and things like that, just getting back in the back out here in Bullfrog Marina. Now, that was during the spring, so obviously the fish were up shallow, but definitely go check that out. You got another ramp that's over here too. And then you got some laydowns that are back here too. I'm going to take this back to 2011. So we can get back to where we were. But moving up here, we've got a pretty decent laydown there. Got another little laydown right there off the point that you have. And then as we swing on back and get way back in the back of Johnson back here, it gets pretty interesting. You got a nice little creek channel that comes up here. And alongside that creek channel, you got a couple different laydowns. So I marked the laydowns for you guys. There's also another pile of laydowns here. And this creek channel, You can't tell when you're there. You think it goes up here. You know it probably swings around, but you can't really tell when you're in the boat that it actually swings down and then up. But if you follow the creek channel, you can tell here because the lake's down, the creek channel comes right up against this bank line. So this bank line could be a really good spot. And I know for sure this entire flat is a good area to go fish. We fished a ton. This was one of the places where we did the best, was just getting back up here in this flat and working around stuff and really just staying as close to that channel as we could and just working that creek channel. And we did a really good job. Did really well back there. Also, moving down here, we've got a pretty decent little ditch that comes out. So you can take a look at that one. You got some laydowns that are in here. You can see that one there. Got a couple laydowns right here for you guys to check out as you're coming out. If you were on the laydown pattern, more laydowns right in here. Marked them all for you. And there's some cover that's right here off the edge of this point. You can see it's just debris, rock, laydowns, kind of a little bit of everything. So it's definitely a good point that you'd want to go and look at. And then as we move further back here, we've also got these creek channels. You can see pretty decent little creek channels back here. I'm kind of disappointed because I don't think I came back here and fished this area last time. I was so honed in on getting the back of Johnson Creek that I skipped over this spot, but I could see this having some potential for sure, some pretty good little creek channels in there. So as we come back out, we've got the ramp that's right here by the bridge, which is kind of old ramp, not something that's being used. Could even be an old roadbed as well, but you can definitely see it right in there. And then I like this. This is just like this little point that comes out, but it looks like a hard spot. And it's just, I don't think you would notice it. If the water was up, you'd have no idea that little point was right there. But definitely go look at that, because that, to me, is one of those spots where everybody just kind of overlook it, and it's really just right there in front of us. Now, getting out here and fishing towards this little dock that's here, this fishing pier, definitely go check that out. You've got a Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor right there, so you know that's going to be a good spot. Johnson Creek main boat ramp right there. You could go launch at. Probably don't want to fish that one. That one's going to be pretty active. And then as we move further out here, just some rock, some riprap and stuff. Another ramp that's over here. And then off this main point, you've got a rock pile that's right here. But you've also got that Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor. So you could set up here, literally fish a brush pile and fish a rock pile at the same time off of Main Lake Point. You know there's got to be fish there. There's just got to be. Also, another one over here. So after you get done fishing that and catching your 20-pound bag, you come over here and catch another 20-pound bag. And then you can move up here and fish some rocks, catch little timmies. I'm just kidding, guys. But this rock little area looks good too. And then moving over here, we've got some more Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors to take a look at. Both of those look really good as well. So we're going to keep moving up, and it's going to start getting maybe not as good as it was. It'll get a little bit better when we get into alley, and then it's going to start getting pretty sparse other than creek channels. But let's keep moving up. We've got some rock right here off of this point that looks pretty good. Again, that's one of those areas where it's just sandy, and then you hit that rock, so it looks really good in that spot. Got a lot of different, long docks that come out. Not a lot going on. Couple ramps back in here. Didn't see a creek channel or anything back in there that I can mark for you guys. Some more Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors, though. And now we're going to start getting into some juice. So this Alley Creek area looks really good as well. Number one, let's just talk about the fish attractors. We got 5 of them here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Numbered perfectly. So 5 different fish attractors right in this site. We've also got a little hump that comes out over here. And you can tell, right there it's darker. But right here is kind of white. And so that makes me think that this is possibly like a hard area. If it is, you definitely want to fish around that spot. There could be a hard spot right out there entering into a major creek. You've also got some rock that's right over here off the tip. You can see here if I zoom into it, just some riprap, man-made riprap and stuff that they put up there as well. So let's dive in here to Alley Creek and see what we find back here. So as we move back, first thing is right off this point, there's a real nice little rock pile. It's a little bit of ways out, and a fish attractor site. So that's like double the money. Perfect. You got a point, you got rock, you got brush, you got everything you need right here off this point to be able to catch a fish. You've also got some laydowns that are back here. You can go check those out. And then we get down here around the bridge. Of course, you want to fish around the bridge. If you hang a right, you got a pretty decent little ditch or a creek channel that's back here with a couple different laydowns. You can see here, got that one marked for you too. We're going to keep working our way up here till we get into the good stuff. But again, some more good creek channels or ditches, whatever you want to call them. It's hard to tell sometimes if it's a creek or a ditch, but basically you've got a couple of them here. It's real good contours, really well defined that you can go back up there and check out. Also, I don't know if I've told you guys, let me back out. I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. For you guys that are crappie fishermen, there were always crappie fishermen off this point and all along in here. This was like the major crappie hole, apparently, of Lake of the Pines, or at least it seemed like it when we were there. There were always crappie fishermen in this area. So if you're a crappie fisherman, definitely come out here, scan around this area, see what you can find. There's probably brush piles and stuff like that. We never went over there because they were crappie fishing. We didn't want to mess with them. But man, if I'd have had the opportunity to go over there, if they weren't there, I definitely would have gone over there to see if I could catch some bass. All right, so I'm going to keep moving up. We talked about those creek channels. We got a laydown that's right here you can look at. Pretty decent one. And then a pretty decent little brush pile here. Just a whole bunch of brush that's just kind of collected up in that one area. So you can go check that out. Moving further back in here, we get into some pretty good creek channels again. So here I've got them all marked for you. And those are pretty simple. You just get up there and just stay in the creek channel and just fish it. Just fish along the edges of the creek channel and you'll be surprised at how well you do. Got another little creek or a ditch that comes out here off the side. So I've marked that one for you. In fact, I think I remember swinging down here and stopping and fishing this one and actually catching fish right in here. And everybody else was just kept going past this. And I was thinking, man, the fish are actually right here instead of up there where we all think that they normally are. All right, so moving down, we're going to see the boat ramp that's down there. We talked about the ramp that's off that point. Then we're going to scoot over here. There's a little pond. I don't know if this is a pond or maybe just the way the lake is, but you've got a ramp over here. This looks fairly deep, right? Everything else is drawn down pretty good, but this one still has pretty decent water in it. And you got a little pinch point or a little ditch that comes right out of it. So I couldn't tell if that was a pond. I marked it as a pond. If it is a pond, you've got that nice little ditch area right in there that you could check out, take a look at. You could also go back there and fish that ramp as well and see what you could find back there. All right, so we're going to keep moving up. Next thing that we have here is just a few more ramps. You got 3 different ramps here in the picture. You got one up here on the upper left, a couple more right in here. These are active ramps, but they look like more like community type ramps that people are using. This one might not be very active at all, though. That one looks more like a personal ramp of something, of some sort. Also right here, look at this laydown. That laydown looks really juicy. Love it when it's the whole tree. And then I think we're going to get a little bit further up here and we're going to just get into the creek channel. So we'll probably finish up here. And what we'll do is we'll start our next video right here on this brush, but we're going to finish on this north side. I'm going to talk to you guys about this stuff up here, and that's where we'll wrap up our video. So as you're coming up here, again, a couple more ramps. There's a ramp there. There's another ramp that's over here as well. Oak Hill boat ramp. And then we get up in here to some juicy stuff. So I couldn't tell if this was an old road. I believe it's an old road. But if you look at it, it's got a lot of hard surface area, rock and stuff like that to fish around. This could be a boat lane too, possibly, that they've got set up in there as well. But if you follow that down, you can see it's got a hard spot all the way around it. So I went ahead and marked that as a track for you guys. I'm not sure if that, I'm not saying that's a boat lane. Don't go run through there in a boat lane, but I'm saying it has potential to be a boat lane. I'm not sure, but you can go out and get boat lanes for Lake of the Pines. Just go out and do a Google search for it. I think the guy's name is Tom Mays that sells the lanes for Lake of the Pines. So definitely go out and check it out. All right. So as we move up here, this again, I believe this is going to be your boat lane because I know when you come up, you kind of come up and you swing over to the side. So that may be the boat lane, but again, an old like roadbed or something going on right in there. But the main creek channel is right over here. So I've marked the entire creek channel for you guys. I like the spot in here. I didn't even know that it came up so high right in here, but this could be a potential spot to go fish. We never fished this spot right here on this corner, but see how it's white? So you know you got a little bit of a hard spot in this area. You could definitely go check that out. And then, of course, when you get up here, this is just awesome fishing. But over here, again, wish I would have had this when we went up here and fished, but there's a little ditch that comes over right after this thing swings, and it just kind of cuts through here. You can see, you know, that having some potential as well. It's not going to be pressured as much. Good little creek swing right there. And then we get back up in here. Of course, there's boat lanes everywhere, and this is going to look totally different when the water is up. But you can see here, I've marked the entire creek channels for you. If there were little creek channels or ditches, I marked those for you guys too. So you can see you've got a pretty decent one back in here that I marked for you guys. You got some more back in here. Real good swing right there. Real good turns. That looks like it has some pretty good depth to it as well. You've also got a ditch that they've cut out here for this boat ramp that's way back in here. So you can check that one out. This, I couldn't tell, but almost looks like a pond that was back here on part of this flat, or at least just like a really good ditch that's part of this flat. And then it kind of, went out here into this little ditch that's here. So you can take a look at that. Anytime you're fishing those flats, you want to look at those things that are just a little bit different, right? I guess that's pretty much anywhere else in the lake, but definitely in those flats. And then here, again, I've just marked all these different creek channels for you guys. Go check them out. If that creek channel touches the land, touches an island, makes a big turn, something like that, you definitely want to fish in that area, or at least go skiing in that area. Just be super careful back here. There's tons of stumps, but again, there's boat lanes that they've made for you guys with the buoys, so you should be fine. All right, so moving down here. Another place that I totally missed when we were up here because I was so focused on going to the north was over here, right here in this little pocket. I don't know how I had missed it, but it looks like you got some pretty good cover to fish around. Real good creek channel. Real decent little ditch right in here. Maybe like a little pond area in this little flat with a little ditch that comes through there like that. A nice little underwater point that you would have in here. Nice creek channel. So go up in there and see what you can find. That's probably not going to be nearly as pressured as that north side. Also coming down in here, you got some pretty decent little creek channels in here. This looks like Meridian Creek, I think is what it said. No, Medellin Creek. So Medellin Creek comes in here. This looks like you may, depending on if the water is up, you may be able to get right in here. And this could be like one of those little clear ponds or pockets you could get in, and they might be related to those areas. So go look in those spots. Those could definitely have some good potential for you. There's a brush pile out here that's where we're going to stop at. So right in here, you'll see me as I zoom into it. If it ever catches up to me, there's a whole bunch of brush just right in this area. There we go. It's finally catching up. So we're going to stop there. And on the next Lake of the Pines video, we'll start there and we'll work our way down the west side, down to the dam, probably finish it up in a video, maybe 2 videos. But anyways, guys, hope you're enjoying this stuff. Definitely go out, check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. We've got all of these waypoints plus the offshore stuff out there for you, ready to go. You just take the card, put it in your graph, and it imports the waypoints in, and you're off to the races. So anyways, hope it's helping you guys out. Hope you're out there fishing. Until next time, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.